Well, folks, you know that saying, the grass isn't always greener on the other side? I think it might be true in this case, but I'm not positive. Now, why am I not positive and what's going on here? Well, I've had this German-made pair of Beyerdynamics. These are the DT 531s. I did a review on these like last year. Now, I've had these DT 531s since I think 2001, maybe 2002, around that time. And I've always enjoyed them, right? I've always enjoyed them. Now, why have I always enjoyed them? Well, the reason I bought these specific headphones is I remember I was at this audio store and I was talking to a couple of guys there who really knew their headphones well, And I told them, listen, I just want an enjoyable set of headphones that sound good with all music. And that's basically it. I'm not looking for a perfect reference headphone, just a nice, enjoyable listen that sounds good with all different music types without it not being over the top, like with like ridiculous bass and ridiculous highs. Somewhat balanced, but somewhat also enjoyable and fun, not too balanced and too flat and referenced style. So they recommended me these. I listened to them and I was like, yeah, these are great. These sound great. So I've used these for so many years and they've been great. They've been nice. I thought they were nice. But this whole grass greener on the other side thing, all of the years that I've had these headphones, I always would hear about the Sennheiser HD 650s, Because the Sennheiser HD 650s was always sort of like seems like the industry standard for a nice, fun headphone to listen to without being over the top, Just a nice, enjoyable listen. Not too harsh, not too accurate, because with some headphones, like for example, I tried some Shure headphones, which were quite expensive. I think they were $500-$600. What are the Shure 1840s? I think they're 1840s, and they sounded great, but they're almost too accurate. They would probably be the perfect headphone for mixing. But for listening, they just were not very enjoyable. Some of the guitars were so harsh that it would just literally hurt your ears. It just peaked a little too much. And even some of the vocals, especially the high vocals, would peak a little too much. And also the bass was there and it was very accurate, but it just wasn't very fun to listen to. It just was a bit lacking, right? So the Sennheiser HD50s, from all the years of hearing about them, they're fun to listen to, they're warm, they're relaxing, they have bass, they have nice, satisfying bass without being too ridiculous, nice mids, smooth, comfortable highs. So I was always kind of jealous, Right? Always kind of jealous. Had these for years. I like these headphones. You could even say I love these headphones. But I was being kind of slimy because I got married to these headphones, but I had my eyes and I was thinking about other headphones. It's kind of disgusting, really. I was basically a pervert. And, but it's enticing, sometimes you just think about something and it's pretty enticing. So I've had these Sennheiser HD50s. I've had them on my Amazon wish list for about a year. And I never bought them because I thought they were a bit overpriced. Or I guess overpriced is all relative. They're priced in a category where I wasn't willing to buy them, especially since I already had the Beyerdynamics and they sounded great. So I thought to myself, you know what, let me put these on a wish list. And if the price ever goes down to a level that's acceptable for me, I'll buy them. So needless to say, the other day, they dropped down in price for one day, and then they went back up. So I ended up purchasing them. And, well, I've waited 20 years to sleep around on these guys with this, right? So I've had this fantasy for 20 years to basically, what's it called? Basically ruin the relationship I've had with these. And I wanted to try these because these looked, these looked enticing. So you're probably thinking, well, Tony, was it worth it? 20 years of fantasizing, lusting over the HD 650s. It's going to be so smooth and so wonderful. So far, it hasn't been very satisfying. But keep in mind, when I say it hasn't been very satisfying so far, it could be two things. One, I'm really not that crazy about them and I was wrong. Or two, I just haven't found the right amp to power them. So now this is what I got to figure out. Because the thing with the Beyerdynamics is these things sound good on pretty much anything. I mean, I'm exaggerating a bit. If you hook them up to a phone, they're a bit... I was going to say lackluster, but what a word. You can't use lackluster. I should edit that out. I can't be the guy saying lackluster around the city. Hey, Tony, are you the guy who just says lackluster in your videos? I can't say the word lackluster. It's just not right. I couldn't think of any other word. Let's just say they're not very impressive if you hook them up to a phone. But if you hook them up to almost any half-decent headphone amp, they sound great. I mean, almost pretty much anything. All right? So what are the two half-decent headphone amps I have? Well, I have two audio interfaces. I have an Apogee Duet. The Apogee Duet has a very respectable headphone amp, and I also have a Focusrite Claret. Claret, I don't know how to pronounce it. And they both have very respectable headphone amps. Now remember, don't confuse the Claret with the Scarlett, because the Scarlett has horrible headphone amps, because I have one of those too, the Scarlett Solos. Yeah, that has a horrible headphone amp. But the Focusrite Claret actually has a pretty respectable headphone amp. So I have two audio devices. And those audio devices with my Beyerdynamics, it drives the hell out of them. They sound great. But with these HD 650s, okay, so I said that the options are one, maybe I just don't like the sound of them and they're just not for me. Two, I haven't found the right headphone amp for them yet. And ironically, three, it's a very touchy subject, but maybe they're not broken in enough. Because with these probably have thousands of hours of break-in period. They're so smooth. But they might. But here's what's weird. With these ones, these Beyerdynamics, they were kind of smooth from the beginning, I think. I don't remember ever a time when they weren't smooth or harsh. Now, so what do I like to test that harshness, that trebly harshness, usually like mechanical things, like drum machines and samples. There's this Rihanna song on her Anti album. It's the first song. It's called Consideration. This Rihanna song called Consideration. Now you're probably thinking, Tony, what are you doing listening to Rihanna? What are you, like 100? Just never listen to Rihanna. You're too old. I get it. But, so this Rihanna song, at the beginning, it has this snare sound, this drum machine snare sound that's so harsh that when you hear it, it just hurts your ears. And when I hear the intro of that song, that's how I judge to see the harshness of the headphone. Because with most headphones, you play that song and it feels like your eardrum is going to bleed from that snare sound. It's such a harsh snare sound. It's horrible. With these Beyerdynamics, miraculously that snare sound, that trebly, spiky snare sound, it's actually very listenable and smooth. It's almost a miracle, right? Now, I don't know if it's because just these headphones are very smooth or because they have thousands of hours of break-in. Maybe it's a combination of both. But I tried the Sennheisers and it was harsh. I gotta admit, it was harsh, which is weird because for years I've heard that these Sennheiser HD650s have a kind of a darker sound, a warmer sound. That's really what they're known for, being kind of dark and warm. And yet, that treble was really hurting my ears from that snare sound. It really surprised me. I thought to myself, maybe they're just really harsh sounding because they're not broken in. So I've been playing music on them for the last couple of days. You know, just press play and let them play for hours. And I tried that song again, that Rihanna song, with the ear-piercing snare sound, and it still sounds harsh. So I guess I'm going to have to keep breaking them in and seeing if the warmness comes in. And two, I'm going to have to see if I can find a different headphone amp source to try them with. Because one thing I will say about the audio interfaces, the audio interfaces are probably not the most ideal things to try the headphones on because I would assume they're designed to be very unforgiving, right? Because you're trying to mix with them. So they're not really going to warm up the sound too much to make those harsh sounds go away. So maybe if I paired the HD650s with a warmer sounding amp, it would make a difference. Time will tell because I have to see. So, but I have to say my first impressions, it might be because they're not broken in enough. It might be because I just don't have the right headphone amp, whatever the case. I gotta say, I wasn't too impressed with my first reaction to them. Yeah, so all these years lusting over the HD650s, because I thought it was going to give me that perfect combination of what I like. I like a nice, thick, substantial bass without being too ridiculous. I like a nice amount of bass without being too ridiculous, which is what they're known for. Nice mid-range, and I like the highs to be smooth, not too harsh. It just seemed to have everything I was looking for. And the one thing I will say right off the bat that they definitely have that's better than these Beyerdynamics is that the HD650s for sure have a better sound stage. You can hear that right off the bat. So yes, they might have that harshness right now, and but the sound stage is definitely better. That's the one thing about the Beyerdynamic DT 531s that's kind of lacking is the sound stage. You know, it's strange because I've had these Beyerdynamics for years, and I don't think I ever really truly appreciated how nice they sound with any music. They sound good with pretty much any song. They just have this perfect balance of bass, mids, and highs where no matter what song you play, it does it well. It doesn't do it amazing, but it does it well. So you can enjoy the song. That's the thing. Because if you actually break down the sound of the DT 531s, the bass is nice, the mids are nice, and the highs are nice, but neither of them are great. The bass is not incredible, the mids are not incredible, the highs are not incredible, but everything is nice. And when you combine that with this idea that somehow they managed to make any song sound nice, not mind-blowing. See, that's why I was always jealous to see what else is out there, because I've always liked them because I thought they sounded nice with all songs I played on them. But it never just kind of like takes you to this place where you're like, this is it. This is like, they can't get better than this. So you kind of instinctively know there's things out there that are better. So that's why I always had this wandering eye. So yeah, my results so far for the HD 650s is inconclusive. I'm going to have to do more tests. So I almost feel bad for anybody who watched this video because you got pretty much nothing out of it. One, I have to debate whether to even upload this because I really don't even know what the point of it was. Two, if I do upload it, I have to figure out a way to title it in a way where you're not hoping to see a legitimate review of the HD 650s because it's really not much of a review, just sort of my initial first impressions. And yeah, we'll see. I'm going to keep playing around with them, break them in more, see if the whole breaking in thing is a myth or not, because I'm just going to keep breaking them in more and more and see if they warm up at all, you know? And then if they don't warm up at all, I guess I'll have to play around some different headphone amps and see what I can get out of them. I have a feeling I haven't listened to them yet at their full potential. That's the feeling I have, but we will see. So yeah, I guess I'll leave it at that. So as of right now, the grass is not always greener on the other side. But if I get them sounding amazing, maybe the grass will be greener on the other side. We will see, I guess. And that's it. So thanks for watching. Have a good day. Bye.